Here, first things first, we're going viral. Lamar Jackson will be the youngest quarterback in NFL history to start a playoff game Sunday when he faces off against the Chargers. Jazz guard Donovan Mitchell was seen wearing Lamar's jersey last night before his game. Donovan and Lamar both in college at Louisville during the same time. Nice little tribute there.
Nice tip of the cap by Donovan Mitchell. I see you.
Nice jersey, nice jacket. Those Balenciaga shoes, though, they better off lighting $1,400 on fire, man.
Why would you say something like that?
Because he tweeted about the person who said the tweet was talking about the shoes. I'm just saying if those shoes...
They might not be your taste.
Man, if those shoes were $14, no one would buy them. They're $1,400, so people buy them. Like, those Balenciagas, man. And now everybody's making those big cloggy looking... Not my thing. Okay. I'm just saying.
So everybody go to Nick Wright for fashion sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Style icon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Style icon, which he can say because Chris Carter's not.
Oh, he's just mad because he got a few pairs of that in the back of his Bentley. Can't hide.
I absolutely have a few pairs.
I knew it. I knew it.
All right, time for stories to start your morning. Big night for Kawhi last night. Kawhi Leonard dropping 45. That's a career high. That came against the Jazz. He went 16 of 22 from the field. He made 13 free throws. Nick, how impressive was Kawhi last night?
He was spectacular. I mean, he was great on both ends. It's really surprising. Only his third career 40-point game. But if he had played more games, he's missed 9 of the 39 games, he'd be top 3 MVP guy right now. He's on a top 3 team in the league. He was great last night.
Is there any weakness in his game offensively? I mean, I guess you would look at perimeter shooting and being more consistent, but I don't think that's a weakness.
No, and he in his career, I think he's up to like 38% from 3. Really just not a great distributor. 1 assist. This was a Kobe Bryant Memorial game. 45 points, 1 assist. He's not a great...
They don't need him to facilitate for everybody else. They need him to get buckets.
He's been great. He's been so great as their #1 option.
Moving on to the Lakers now. LeBron has been ruled out for tonight's game against the Thunder. This will be the 4th game that he's missed since injuring his groin last week. Lakers 1-2 without the King so far. All right, Nick, how does this team look without LeBron?
Okay, they could be 2-1 without him, but they also could be 0-3 without him. They've had 2 kind of coin flip games. One of the losses was a clear loss. Tonight's going to be real tough against the Thunder, but then home for the Knicks, at the Timberwolves, at Dallas. They should be able to go 2-2 over the next 4, and then I would think you'd have LeBron back after 7 games missed. That's the thing to watch. Is this going to be 3 to 5 games, 5 to 8 games, 8+ games? I think he'll probably be back around game 8.
Well, they're only 4 games back from the leader of the West, the Denver Nuggets, so you just need these guys to keep them above water, stay afloat, 500, maybe a game or 2 better than that until LeBron James comes back. But this is one of those injuries that you can't rush.
You don't want to rush.
When you have a growing situation, give him as much time as he needs to recover from it. We haven't even gotten to the All-Star break, so give LeBron James some time.
Last night, Urban Meyer coached his last game for Ohio State in their Rose Bowl win over Washington. Quarterback Dwayne Haskins put on a show, tossed 3 touchdowns. He threw for 251 yards. Our own Chris Carter was there. He tweeted that he's certain Haskins is heading to the NFL. Chris Caney, what do you make of Haskins' performance yesterday?
Well, CC said a couple of months ago that he thought Dwayne Haskins would be the best quarterback available should he choose to come out in the NFL draft. And I think from that Rose Bowl performance from Haskins, he's only solidified that position. I mean, he will be the best quarterback in this year's draft class, in my opinion, probably going to be the #1 overall pick. The team that's drafting #1, the Arizona Cardinals, they just drafted Josh Rosen last year, so they're not going to be in the quarterback market, but I do anticipate a heavy market to trade up to that #1 pick to be able to get Haskins.
And the Cardinals need a ton of players, and so you think they might be a team you would think that would trade back to try to accumulate extra picks. Haskins, clear-cut #1 quarterback, and what a rise for him. Starting with he was spectacular against Maryland, unreal against Michigan in that pasting, and then the Big Ten championship game and the Rose Bowl. Maybe the 4 best games of his college career all came in the final 4 games of his college career. That's what solidified him as the top quarterback available if he comes out.
All right, let's talk some Andrew Luck. He'll face the Texans on Saturday for the 3rd time this season. I'm sure the Colts will be there as well. Safe to say Luck fared pretty well in the first 2 matchups against Houston, throwing for over 800 yards and 6 touchdowns. However, Luck is tempering expectations this time around.
I truly believe this. What's happened in the past has no relevance over what's going to happen, in the next game. And certainly you watch film and you study and you prepare and but both of us, we know each other well. Execution, fundamentals, technique, discipline, those sort of become the magic sauce. Honestly, those are the magic sauce every week.
All right, Colts and Texans, these two teams know each other very well. Chris Canty, what do you think the key is to this matchup?
Well, and just listening to that soundbite from Andrew Luck, he said what happened in the past has no bearing on what's going to happen in this game. And while that may be true, I think past performance is the best indicator for future performance. And what we know is that Andrew Luck torches the Houston Texans, and so does T.Y. Hilton. So I think this is a good matchup for the Colts. This is a division opponent, so they know this team very well. They know that environment that they're walking into down in Houston well. And there's not going to be an intimidation factor. There's not going to be a fear factor. And the one thing that the Colts have done really well this year is keep Andrew Luck upright. Now, they've been able to offer him some balance of a running game. Think back a few weeks ago in that matchup against the Dallas Cowboys, which is a pretty good front seven, and they gashed those guys for over 170 yards in the run game. So I look at this Colts team and say, if they can have that kind of balance on offense and have Andrew Luck work off of the run game with play action and take shots downfield to Ebron and T.Y. Hilton, it could be a long day for that Houston Texans pass defense.
Texans are devastated that the Titans didn't win that game a couple nights ago.
But they probably knew it wasn't coming. Marcus Mariota compromised.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, they knew it was coming.
But this is a terrible matchup for Houston. Because not only the history, not only do they know each other, not only that this year in 2 games against Houston, Luck has averaged 430 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick. This is the Texans' biggest weakness, other than their offensive line, is their pass defense. And Andrew Luck, aside from about the 1 throw a game he makes that you're like, what were you thinking there? He is going to carve up weak pass defenses, which is what the Texans have. Additionally, the Colts have been great at keeping Luck upright. Think about this. He's been sacked 18 times all year. Deshaun Watson was sacked 12 times in the 2 games against Indy. Wow. And that is indicative of the season. How many times have you been sacked on the season, Canty?
62 times.
62 times. The most any player's been sacked in this league, I believe, in 10 years. And one of the most ever. The most ever is a different Houston Texan young quarterback, David Carr, who got the football, as you would say, knocked out of him. If you were to tell me only one road team's going to win this weekend, I think a couple could win. But if only one road team's going to win, this would be my pick.
Not favored, by the way.
They're not favored, but the line's getting shorter and shorter as the week goes on. Started as Texans by 3. It's now Texans by 2, 1.5 in some spots. I think the Colts are better. I think obviously Houston will have home field, but it's indoors, so there's not going to be any weather variable. And while the Texans are very hot, going from 0-3 to 11-5, Colts are even hotter, going from 1-5 to 10-6, having won 9 of 10, with the 1 loss being just a head-scratching game against Jacksonville. I just think Colts are better. I think they're a more dangerous team. I think they're the more complete team. They have more paths to victory, to your point. To me, the Texans have one path to victory. That is, DeAndre Hopkins has a monster game, but if I'm Indy, I'm doubling him on every single play, and I'm seeing if anyone else can beat me.
Well, I was going to say the Colts have one more thing, and that's that their best player is playing their best football, and that's Andrew Luck. I mean, as hot as he is, he's healthy, he's staying upright, he's more accurate, he's happy, he's excited about this. We've seen like a new Andrew Luck this season, just a guy that is so appreciative of having this second lease, and his line is protecting him, which makes you feel comfortable going into this game.
No, you're absolutely right, and I think that's where it starts and ends for me. In the playoffs, it's about the team that plays the overall more physical brand of football, and I think that's the Indianapolis Colts, especially in the month of December, as opposed to the Houston Texans. And I know everybody will talk about Watt, they'll talk about Clowney, Bernardrick McKinney, but when you look at this Colts team, both offensively and defensively up front, I think those groups have been more consistent throughout the entire season, and that's what's going to be at play in this playoff game this weekend. So when you consider the fact that the offensive line for the Houston Texans has allowed that much pressure on Deshaun Watson, and then you realize that over a third of his attempts are to DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, to Nick's point, the Colts secondary, they're going to take DeAndre Hopkins away. Then who's going to beat you from that Texans offense? I mean, the Colts haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher all season, so you have to think that somebody else is going to be forced to step up, and I don't know that the supporting cast for Deshaun Watson is capable of doing that.
Will Fuller was an excellent speed threat for them. He got hurt. They brought in Demaryius Thomas. He got hurt. Kiki QT, who's been a nice rookie for them, he had been injured. He was, I think, a full participant at practice yesterday, so he should be a full go this weekend. But if you're down to Kiki QT be is your secondary option, you don't have great secondary options.
Yeah.
And for the Colts, people need to understand how great they've been in this stretch. It's not just that over the last 10 weeks, they have the best record in the NFL. They have the best point differential in the NFL. They have the #1 scoring defense in the NFL over this stretch. #5 scoring offense. This team over these 10 weeks has been as good as the Saints, as good as the Chiefs, as good as any of the best teams in football. The Colts have been right there with them. It's a really tough matchup for Houston. I'd be surprised if the Texans win this game. I think the Colts are better. I think the Colts are going to win.
All right, let's take a break. Coming up, we'll talk about another matchup this weekend. What do the Cowboys need to do? They want to knock off the Seahawks. Hear it from Ezekiel Elliott next on First Things First.